Das ist so wenig Platz hier vorne, das kannst du uns nicht antun.
Für uns zwei, ja.
Das T-Shirt, das ist so geil.
Das hat was, ja.
Schick, echt. Eigentlich wollte noch jemand von Early kommen.
And you would also come forward to
We'll switch to English in a minute. But when we having a chat, it's not necessary that you understand us, right?
No, she's just asking if the whole course is on English.
Oh, course.
Meet up, sorry, meet up. Wrong expression.
well, actually, the certificates or certifications themselves, I don't think they're even available in German. So
No.
Yes, they are, but
I
the
was
translation
trying
is
to-
really bad. I would recommend to do it
I
in
was trying
English.
to apply for German, check in German,
so the
no
two or
German
three
on
is not
their
even
website.
available in German.
It's not that big. It's not that big. It's available in German.
Not yet.
Hopefully, they will never translate.
They can't.
They
Maybe
have,
they
have
use some
Eve.
Azure AI. And there is nobody left. I will keep the door open and we'll keep the window open so that we've got enough to breathe. Is everybody happy and comfortable?
Yeah. For now.
Had enough pizza?
Oh yeah.
It's not possible because there's loads of pizza left. Everybody has his free Wi-Fi?
Before it becomes paid.
Yes, so in 5 minutes you're gonna have to pay for it. So our meetup today is first, who is the first time here at Azure DEV meetup?
For me.
The half, that's cool. I know that guy over there already. Azure DEV is founded in July this year, and we were successful since that time. And today our topic is how to get certified. And I'm talking about Microsoft certifications. And why is that important? How to get there? What are the steps? What are the milestones you can achieve with, and so on. So we do not share brain dumps with you today. Okay, if you have the expectation of a brain dump, you're wrong. Sorry. Okay. So the big question is.
Sorry to interrupt.
Okay.
What's
No,
your name?
my name. I don't know my name either. So I guess you're Thomas.
Yeah.
He's my organizer for the Azure DEV meetup. I'm happy to have him on board. My name is Ralph. I'm the founder of the Azure DEV meetup, and it wouldn't happen without Thomas, to be honest. So, and we're founded by the Azure DEV tech community, the Azure tech community now.
Funded? Founded?
Founded. Right.
Founded. Nice.
Thanks for assisting. So why is it interesting for you to become certified as a Microsoft certified professional? Has anybody a clue about that? I guess you have had some thoughts about, because you're here today. Anybody? A clue? An idea? Wishes? Just for fun and Coke and beer, I'm okay with that. So, well, it is more and more important that to know about the cloud, because cloud is more and more important for business, right? So everybody of us has somehow contact to the cloud, and if you want to be a rule maker, if you want to be a playing guy in this big game, you'll need to know what you're talking about, right? So having a certification ensures that you have the knowledge about what you're talking about, and you show up with your professionality, and that's really important. Not only for your boss, it is important for your company. If you're a Microsoft partner, it shows up your competency, and for yourself, it gives yourself the capabilities to do whatever asked in the context of your certification. So there are really different certifications within Azure or within Microsoft, not talking only about Azure. And what we also know is that that number is really important. I guess this 38% is also a nice figure, because that means nearly 40% of IT positions needs background of cloud, and this is really amazing. Who's following the Ignite? Few of you, that's likely really me too, because it's happening in the night, and it's not NFL, so I'm not on TV then. They say we have loads of jobs open in Germany as well in the world, and they are all focused on doing dev at cloud, which is not yet fulfilled. So it's a loss of, what was the digit named on MBS? It was really a billion number, a great one. So the why is spoken, and everybody has an idea about why and what benefit is it for him and his company. And after that, I'd love to go with you through on how to get there. And one of the things to get there is to have an online exam. Does anybody know View, Pearson View? The company is, no, you don't know it? Okay, Pearson View is one of the companies doing the exams for Microsoft. So that means they have a standard to accomplish tests with, or exams with attendees, and they do it on a way which is secure enough that Microsoft says, okay, we trust you and you are legal to execute those exams, and afterwards, if you've passed the exam, you are certified. And this certification is really something worth. And I tell you what, my last exam was not so long ago, it's 6 weeks ago or something like that. It was the Azure AZ 300, and it was tough. The time you have to spend on the exam is almost something around 3 hours, and it has a couple of questions. It has a couple of
drinks.
It's fully loaded. It's a bunch of questions. You're right. It's fully loaded, and there is something new in that. Exams nowadays, they test your skills in real time, and I was really, it was tight for me, but I've made it, I've passed. So it was fun for me to pass this exam, because it felt so much strong to get along that way, and that was a good feeling that I've seen afterwards. Oh no, I haven't seen it because the system failed. So I was a bit of, did I pass or did I not? So, and I went back to the learning page, and there was the congrats, you've made it. And I was really, so that's something awesome. And I've done it with an online proctored exam test. Online proctored exams are a cool thing, for my opinion. I'm doing it since 4 years, and they've improved the system really much. In the past, you were hurrying to one of the test centers. One of it is at Hackerbrücke. The company is named SoftAd. They do also trainings, and after training and preparation, you have the ability to do the test at the test site over there. And they provide you a space, a computer, a monitor, and you can do the test there. But honestly, it's not a very comfortable situation where you want to go into. It feels more stressy. It's a stranger environment and so on. It's not my way of doing something. And so I decided to do it online. For sure, you need a very good internet connection, which is nowadays no longer a question.
We're still in Germany.
I'm not talking about mobile phone connection and Ash and so on, right? At home, the most of you will have the right connection for it. And if you want to figure out if your system is well prepped for what you're doing, an online proctored session, you can visit this page, which is there, and you can run the system test, which we're going to do Now slightly, I want to show you what then happens is, Thomas, I need your phone. Maybe you can go on that page. Oh. Are you there?
Not yet. You could have prepared this.
Oh no. The thing is that I will receive now a new link with a new.
The requested page cannot be found.
Oh, no problem. So testing the system is what we're doing now, and the first thing is they want me to check the box here so that they know it's my computer they're going to test now. The next thing is that we need the access code and we need a piece of software. So this software is a task software. It's an executable which you're going to download. I will do that for you. I've downloaded this already. You will see it is there already. I know it has a different name. So after downloading, I will execute it, and it asks me then for the access code. Lucky me, I'm administrator of my system, so I can do that. If you're not administrator of your system, it can be tricky. So if there is something like Skype or so, or other processes you cannot stop in the background of your computer, that's really tricky then. So you need to discuss with your IT people, if you're doing that from your business laptop, to stop such things. So it was on the wrong page for sure. This is the software which were booted now or started now, and I have the access code here. And now we have to have your phone number.
Mine?
Yes. Are you okay with that?
Please don't look.
Wie ganz spam mit
175 968
Wie?
68 99 64.
Take pictures now.
It's streamed.
I will call back after 2 a.m.
On Christmas on Christmas Eve. Okay. So now what happens? The check-in process is what it does. It does a system check. Then it needs to take a picture of me. I need to have my personal ID with me, and I need to show it. What they do then is with AI in the background, they check whether my photo and my personal ID card is matching. If that's okay, we do the next step, workspace verification, which sounds pretty easy for that I can write. It's not. Okay. I'm 18 years old, I promise. And now we get started. So, system check is running in the background. Now it's checking what I do. Have a webcam, I have a microphone with here, hello, and it's working, so that's checked, and the internet connection seems to be okay as well, right? So that's one of the major tests during the system, or during the on-view test. The next is, now we use your mobile phone. I will have type the URL. That's pretty much more easy. So you see, we couldn't have prepped it before because it's a process. Once he did that, somewhere I do have my ID.
Take your photo.
Right. May I?
Sure.
I can use you.
Please delete the photo afterwards.
If your mobile is not exploding, you need to be happy and take it. So take your photo.
You get his photo and the photo of the ID as well?
For sure.
Hmm.
How do I switch the, there it is. Okay, so I made a nice photo of me, okay, you can see that. I accept the photo because it's well prepped. It was accepted. I have the chance to twist the photo if it is upside down or something like that when you have hold your mobile like that. Great.
But it's difficult if your photo is old on your ID card.
It's not. They
In
focus
this
on,
case,
they focus on few aspects in the face.
Okay.
I cannot tell you which they are. But
Usually it's a ratio from eye to nose.
yeah, it's distances literally. And now you don't see on how to process, right? The first time I was on that page, I was screwed by that as well. Look. Okay, nice one. Okay, that one happened now, and it's loading again, and now it will ask me to, so it's uploading and verifying the photo, and now it will ask me, oh, internet speed is really good. Are you using our Wi-Fi?
Yes.
Damn it, you need to.
Probably not.
No, it's not. Okay. My picture is there, it was accepted. I go continue. Now they ask me for my verification. First they ask for a country, let's see. Why do they want me to enter the country? Any ideas?
ID forms are different.
You're right. Thanks. Okay, let me see where Germany is at G. I'm wondering. You have the opportunity to use the driver's license. In Germany, do we have a photo on it? I don't know.
Yes.
Yes.
Oh, it is.
Do you even
Okay.
have one?
Hmm?
Do you even have one?
You mean to check whether they compare on right way? I have one, yes. So now I want to make a photo of my passport. I'm doing that right now, so I need to rotate it again. Done it. Looks like that. Let's see if they accept it. I'm okay with that. I'm trying, and it's again, right? Okay. It's uploading. So this trick with moving the page up, it took me 20 minutes. It was silly somehow. You don't think about that you have to move it a little up. It was an accident, and then I found it.
That's Android for you.
Yeah. I don't know. It's not Android. I guess it's a bad web page. Not
No,
scaling on the
this
right
happens to me all the time on Android
Okay.
devices.
Passport instructions, I read it. Now it comes up to workspace, and this is really also something nice. You see, I have to do 4 pictures, okay? What they want to make me to do is make photos of my desks. What is the reason for that? They want to see I do not have any paper on the table. No devices on my table they don't want to have there. And they want to see that it's nothing behind and nothing from left, from right, and from front also not. Nobody sitting downstairs and crystalling up the
I
solutions.
can just hide my documents and then put them back when I finish the book.
No, you can't. I will come to that point later. So okay, I will take photo of you now.
This
Nice.
is your workspace.
Yeah, it is.
There's no one here to
Okay.
help.
They're not gonna accept it.
Let's see. We will see if they accept it, right? So the first one is there.
Do away with
If
this.
they accept this, we don't look like we know stuff.
Now I need to take a back photo, so I'm going down here and do back photo. Okay. So this is what you really need to do. You need to go around the desk. So otherwise it's really tough to have a photo from it. Some of you might have a wall-mounted desk, and then you cannot do that, and you need to make a photo from the opposite done. So now it's from left. Okay, so it's not that I go and make a left photo from that direction. It is like that one, right? And I take it. Let's see if they accept that. I would wonder. So it's just a system test, so it's not really something serious. Okay.
How many steps did you get on your Fitbit doing that?
I need to check. And if you've done that and they accept it, so they accept it.
What is that for us?
Why should we?
Photo uploading complete. And if that check mark is there, you either cannot move the page anymore. So let's see, refresh. Okay. You have to remind that. There were loads of faults in the people in the photos. So launch the exam. What happens now? All other applications the Pearson View app can close will be closed. If the app cannot be closed, it will prompt you to close that task. So, and once you've done that, you can go back into the app, enter the access code, and then it moves forward. Now I have on my laptop, I can for sure not move, right? So now I have on my laptop this. Can you see it?
Yep.
So system test was successful. I'm able to do the test. What you can do then is go through and make some test questions. I don't want to. Can I exit? I cannot. Okay, let me run through. And exam. Here we go. I'm done. Okay, thank you for completing the test. Blah, blah, blah. Nice. That was just the preparation. So, if you have scheduled your online exam for 10, start 9:45 with a prep. And I mean this prep. So at 9:30 you should prep your desk. And it must be clean. Nobody else is. So if there is a whispering, something other than you in that room, they'll shoot you out the exam. And then they check with you and say, hey, remove that person. And if it's too long in the room and they hadn't recognized it earlier, they'll cut down the exam and then it's done. Okay? And then you have to do a new scheduling for the exam and buy a new voucher if you don't have any retakes. So that's really expensive then. Okay, we've done the test. I hope everybody has a clue about on how such an online proctored test is running, the system test is running, and has an idea about on how an online proctored session looks like. And now to your question. They've checked my laptop whether there is a camera or not. If you move yourself like this, okay, your eyes are no longer to the screen. The chat pops up, the exam closes, the chat pops up. Look to the camera, I can't see your face. If your hands are doing something strange, they cannot see what you're doing. The exam closes, and they chat with you. It's your chance, okay? Always, it's a chance. If you're not behaving, they can close the test for you that day, and then it's done. Also with something like noises around you and so on. So when we do tests here at /, we use usually this room here, and we have a sticker at the door, online proctored exam, do not come in, do not disturb, do not knock on the door, the exam will end immediately. And that really works out for us, so we can do our exams then within a time. Any questions to that? None?
No.
Okay, I tell you a secret. If you have a business laptop and you might have something like a managing system working around it, taking care of your system for software and so on, and that wants to do an installation during your test, it screws you. So ask your IT to shut down such service or use a private laptop where you do not have such a thing not running. Okay? Cool. And it sounds really difficult, but once you're used into it and you're into your test, it's really cool because you're focused, you're there and you can do your thing, it's your laptop and it feels safe, and really I enjoy that. If there are no questions anymore too, I hand over the phone to you. Thanks for borrowing it. Microsoft certifications and way to go there. So whom of you is an IT guy? So I will remove that. Who of you is just an IT pro?
Pro.
IT pro like consultant, infrastructure guy, not a dev. No, there are a few, but the question was legal. And who of you is in data, analytics, AI, machine learning? Okay. Do we have just devs? 1, 2, 3.
Yeah, okay, also that.
Ah,
Juniors.
works. Okay, I like devs who have a foot in both worlds. One is in the infrastructure and one is in the development area, because within cloud that enables you to do amazing things because you're understanding the backbone behind. Usually, I'm not saying the other devs do not. Okay. I'm so sorry. Okay, we have let's say squares of exams within Microsoft certifications, and it is very easy. So because it's role based, like. But here we are just focusing on technology and the way you can go to. And it's usually when we're within Azure, starting with the fundamentals stuff, and then it comes to, well, if you're a consultant, I would say the apps and infrastructure way is the right one. Go make the fundamentals and take the Azure administrator. That one is too tough for you if you're just a consultant. It's very far whatever you need for as a consultant.
So associate.
Yeah, it's associate, but we will hear later a bit about the exam and the learning path. It's way more than a consultant needs to know. Really, believe me, way above. The Azure Security Engineer is something which, in my opinion, should not be only here. It should also have a foot here, because dealing with data and having it secured is really, I mean, it's obvious. We don't need to talk about that. Okay. But in the certifications role system, it is not coupled together, and the paths are a bit on another way. I can show you if I find my mouse. Here we go. As I've mentioned already, it's role-based, and what does that mean? It's looking for what job are you doing, and we have the same categories here, and here we have the functional consultant as well. I like it, and we have the dev, the administrator, and the solutions architect. So let's have a look onto to not teaser too much for Thomas' speech. What's the way to go if you want to go for the solutions architect? So you see here the new tag. Am I really right? No. Solutions architect and technology. Azure. We need to have Azure here. Right. Yeah.
Right, new expert.
I mean, who gonna need that? We don't know. Does anybody know what that's in German? Sanduhranzeigeprogramm. Okay. never mind. The Microsoft Certified Azure Solution Expert is the way I'm going through right now, and I can tell you it is out of 2 exams. It's the AZ300 and the AZ301. Those 2 certifications, and you see here all skills measured. And how did we get there? We were focusing on our job role. After we've found out what job role and technology we are going to focus on, we had a clear way on how to get Azure certified or Microsoft certified, right? With the first exam, you earn the MCP, which is Microsoft Certified Professional. At that time, you'll get an ID, and that ID never will go away if you do right. So some of you might have a couple of IDs because losing of email addresses, and in the past there were some issues with the system. No problem. The support is very well, and they bring together back the things. After earning the MCP and the ID, we go further for the next exam, and if you pass that, Microsoft will call you the next time Microsoft Certified Azure Solution Architect Expert. Before, your name is then Azure Solutions Architect. So just having the 300 makes you Azure Architect. And that's it. Sounds easy. Azure Architect is really a load of learning. So spend 3 to 4 weeks if you do it by yourself, focused on learning each day. You need that, because if you're not in Azure every day, it's really tough to get there. It wasn't that tough for me because I'm really in Azure every day. I'm doing loads of projects of it. But I must say I had to learn as well. So it's nothing they gonna give you as a gift. Okay? Questions to hear? Please just interrupt me and shout out then. Okay. So we were discussing about role-based. We had that role-based now. Where's my over there? Ah. Nice. PowerPoint is telling me that it wasn't shut down properly last time, and now it found some documents from 1999 and it wants to restore.
Go for it.
Yeah, no.
Imagine what? No. Okay, so rebooting the PowerPoint presentation.
So it probably got killed by the testing process, right?
Yeah. No.
No?
It was present. I was using it.
Then it was killed by PowerPoint. Probably.
Killed by itself. So moving forward to where we started from. So if you look at this picture, there are plenty of certification paths you can walk down. For me personally, some of those are very interesting to me, and I'm gonna run them through. And so for instance, the Azure AI engineer is something I'm really keen for, and is something my company asked me also to do.
Is that the AI 100?
Yes.
Yes. There are like experts for data and AI?
Not yet. Not yet. It's not announced yet, so maybe it comes up once.
They feel like it.
I have a feeling it's very close to be announced. Okay. How can I say that, right? But I would say it's on the way. That Microsoft isn't Microsoft if they don't have experts. Okay. Okay. That said, the next step is I was talking about learning. Learning is really something you should pay attention to. The tests are going somehow deep into details, as well for administrators, like developers, and for solution architects. They ask you things like, okay, this is a PowerShell script, and what command would you do here, here, and here? There's a list, and you need to select out of those commands and bring them in the proper order. That's one of it, and there's something new I'll show you a bit later. But these topics are claimed with the AZ300, and these topics are claimed with the AZ301. So if you respect these topics, and if you heat up and learn these topics and study for that, you're well prepped for the AZ300. But don't focus only on that, on these links here. There are other areas where you can earn loads of knowledge from. We will tell you later. So we were discussing about what's asked during a test. These are the types of questions. So extending matching items, what I've described earlier. Code review is something you have to do. It's not in the solution architect area, it is in the dev area where you have to do code reviews or to extend code. Yes, it's in there. I know that. Case studies are always within the tests in the exams. So case studies means they describe a scenario and they describe requirements the customer wants to have. And then you have, let's say, 20 questions with that scenario. And you have, for all of these questions, special requirements which are listed in the scenario or case study. And you can jump back and forth and back and forth.
One question. I saw some dumps of exams and case studies. You cannot go back, right? So you should answer all questions and then you cannot go back to this case study.
Yeah, that's so after you've answered a chapter of your test or exam, you cannot go back. That's right. But they asked you 2 times if you're sure you want to go over to the next section, and they tell you that you cannot go back. So if you want to check, do it at that point. Tricky, some of the tests starts with question of 4, and you cannot go back for one of this. So you answer, and it comes the next question, and you cannot go for the first. That's for a reason you will see. It's a bit tricky, but it's just the opening of the test.
That's basically kind of these yes and no questions,
Yes.
where you have like a question, is this the right solution? And then you answer yes or no. And then
The next step
a
comes.
similar type of code
Question.
comes, and is this now correct, basically? And if it's then correct, then you can't go back, obviously, to
the first yes.
answer.
Because it's handling the same topic.
Yeah.
Drag and drop is pulling items from a list to a text. Best answer is something I haven't seen yet. Build list for sure. Graphic interpretation means it can be that you have to see an architecture diagram and you need to answer on how something is moving or not. And those type of questions are the one thing. And if you think this is tough, it is. But I tell you what, there is something more. I was not awaiting that it will take my concentration so much. And that's performance-based testing. What does that mean? Okay, you're in your test, and then you go into, you end up with your session with a chapter of a case study or something like that, and then it starts with, okay, now we're going to fire up a VM for you, and Azure portal will start, and you have almost the Azure portal there, limited functionality. F1 is not working. It can be that the shell comes up, that you need to enter PowerShell into it, and so on. And they usually have 10 tasks here, or up to 10 tasks. And they have a time where what they put on that tasks for you. And it can be that the tasks are based upon each other. So if you miss to do one of the tasks, you cannot go further with the next task, which is somehow a problem. With my exam, I had 2 labs in it, and the time limit of 3 hours were tight enough that I've skipped 10 questions at the end of the test, but I passed. Okay, any questions to this?
What
By the
kind
way-
of labs do they want? Create something in Azure portal, connect something to something? What do they want?
Well, as you can see here, it's about virtual machines, and it's really one of the labs. If you're with the AZ300, it goes about deployment, security, workloads, and so on. So they ask you to set up virtual machines, set up networks, on how to secure the network, and so on. You should do that with the portal and with the Cloud Shell. And my hint is, if you know the commands, is very good. Remember help. Help is working within the shell. So if you don't know the right way on how to put the commands together, it will be helpful to use the help or the question mark at that point. And really that screwed me somehow, because I wasn't so good prepped that I was really like click and happy. It was tight, because some of the questions are not my common daily business where I'm dealing with, and then you really have to remind and use the question mark as well. But I've made it. More questions? Okay, it was a good experience for me. This is something I want you to ask, to remember. When Thomas is ready, we will come back to that picture. And I also want to introduce our new stickers, which are coming up soon. We have our Azure Heroine. We've done a survey on women, whether they prefer to have hero or heroine. The result was we want to have it girl style, and that's heroine, okay? And we will have our cool guy here over there, Mr. Azure Hero. So the stickers are coming up next. I hope you like it, and we'll take it then with you next time. So I now will hand over to Mr. Co-organizer, friend. Thomas is your name, I guess?
Yeah, I think so. Quick question, do we need a quick break?
Yeah.
Heard him talk for quite a while now.
I'm so sorry. What time is it? I'm good in time.
Yeah. So let's have a 5-minute break, get something to drink, get the rest of the pizza.
Yeah, please.
Yeah, let's be
Please care for the bit.
Thank you so much for now.
No, she's talking, she did stuff.
Yeah.
Because
The 300, or did you pass one?
No.
You're
I'm
in
more
prep.
AWS, but now I need to.
I'm also AWS certified, so having big.
What certification do you hold?
AWS associate.
Associate.
Having big.
Okay. Is it tough to get there?
Not really. I didn't think that.
Okay, you're gonna do that now.
The hardest thing
Go
in
for
AWS for me is always
for it.
remembering what the
Yeah, the abbreviation is
the abbreviation is
S3,
also
S3.
telling you the name of stuff. So S3, what
Yeah,
does it
The
do?
buckets.
Storage.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, in Azure it's Azure Storage.
Simple
Yeah.
storage service.
Yeah.
S3. That's why it's S3.
3, yes.
3S.
Okay.
But they have to
Or
deal with
Beanstalk.
all the same,
Yeah,
with
Beanstalk,
all
yeah.
the same like
Well,
Azure.
What?
Yeah, it's the problem is the name doesn't really associate
Yeah.
sometimes with some job.
I mean, in Azure, it's pretty boring, the naming, but
Just
I mean,
normal.
I mean, it's Azure Search. Okay, I guess I know what it probably does.
Pizza. You should
Pizza.
take pizza.
Mandatory.
Some.
Die werden nicht schon noch kaputt kriegen.
Du wirst
Für
gleich, die wird gleich warm.
Data, ja, was heißt nicht mehr Data?
Nee.
Wusste ich auch nicht, was das macht.
Und jetzt, ja, und jetzt bitte Azure Arc.
Arc, ja. Das neue, das ist das neue.
Dann hauen sie dich kaputt mit Azure Stack,
Azure Stack,
Azure Stack HCR.
Ja gut, aber Azure Stack weiß ich zumindest vom
Ja,
Namen her, dass
das
mich
Azure,
interessiert.
Azure Arc ist der Aufsatz auf Azure Stack
Okay.
und macht einen Hybrid-Cloud-Ansatz mit Azure Management.
Aber da gehen sie in eine falsche Richtung. Das ist das gleiche mit Sentinel. Von Sentinel kann man nicht sagen, was das macht. Azure Security Center oder sowas, da weißt du wieder.
Nein.
Der
Warte.
Native-
Die ersten Features sind aus dem Security Center verschwunden.
Ja, das ist mir schon klar, aber der Weg oder die Richtung gefällt mir nicht. Dass es jetzt sie die Dinge so benennen, dass man wieder nicht mehr weiß, wo es drin steckt.
Genau, aber
Das Sentinel ist
bestimmt
super, aber
nichts vorschreiben. Nein, Sentinel ist noch nicht super.
auch nicht. Aber bei mir ist es schon unten durch nur wegen Namen. Ich benutze nur Dinge, wo ich weiß, was drin steht.
Ja, mal ein Stück Pizza irgendwo.
Nee, passt nicht.
Können wir das auch?
Ja.
Könnt ihr noch was dazu sagen, wie man sich vorbereitet und
Ja,
wie
ja.
man sich dann anmeldet?
Ich wollte Thomas nicht
was
so-
das kostet?
Ja. Also ich wollte Thomas nicht so viel
Das,
vorgreifen.
also ich werde jetzt speziell auf den Azure Developer Associate Prüfung.
Und danach werden wir in einer flockigen Diskussion eure Fragen noch bearbeiten. Du musst halt den Mund aufmachen und fragen.
Ja, ich weiß nicht, was dann kommt, deswegen.
Ja, nee, du
Nee,
kannst
genau, also-
jederzeit fragen, nicht warten, sondern fragen.
Ja.
Aber dann sagen wir schon, ob wir noch was haben oder nicht. Dann dazu. Stark. Hey, du bist ja noch da.
Hast du mich eh schon vom Lernen abgehalten. Das muss ich auch bleiben.
Das klingt ja ziemlich nach so Big Brothers watching you während der Prüfung.
Ja,
Dann schauen die einen da wirklich.
ich muss gestehen, ich weiß es nicht, weil ich habe es tatsächlich in der Testing Facility gemacht und nachdem Ralf es jetzt erzählt hat, das habe ich irgendwie ein bisschen abgeschreckt.
Ja,
Ich glaube, ich würde es trotzdem jetzt weiter.
das klingt ein bisschen unheimlich.
Ja, vor allem, also Pricing macht keinen Unterschied. Ob man jetzt zu irgendeiner Firma hinfährt oder nicht. Und draußen bei Microsoft ist noch eine andere Facility, die das anbieten. Er hat recht insofern, dass es schon, je nach der Firma, wo man ist, ein komisches Gefühl sein kann, weil ich saß da auch dann komplett alleine in einem Raum, wo nichts außer 4 PCs ist und man wird quasi für 3 Stunden eingesperrt und kann nicht mal aufs Klo gehen zwischendrin, darf nichts mitnehmen, keine Getränke, nichts zu essen, kein
Ja.
Handy.
Ich überlege gerade, wenn ich das zu Hause mache, ja, dann platzen die Kinder rein.
Genau,
Also war's das. Dann
von da-
von vorne anfangen.
Ja, also ich glaube, den Stress würde ich mir persönlich nicht
bis
machen.
mein Tisch so weit aufgeräumt ist, dass der akzeptiert wird.
Ja, vor allem, ich habe halt um mich rum, mit meinem Homeoffice-Platz und meinem normalen PC habe ich 4 Monitore. Das werden die eh nicht durchgehen lassen.
Ja.
Da muss ich erstmal irgendwann mein Zimmer umbauen dafür.
Das ist echt so schwer, wenn man kurz wegschauen oder so vom Monitor. Das ist dann
Wie gesagt, ich habe es selber nicht gemacht, aber kann ich mir gut vorstellen, dass das so ist. Ja, die müssen, ich meine, das ist, wenn die irgendwas durchgehen lassen, dann entzieht Microsoft quasi die Businessgrundlage, damit die sagen, geht nicht mehr. Aber wie gesagt, in München hat man ja die Optionen und sowas.
virtuelle Räume dazu schalten.
Das ist so abwegig.
Ich glaube auch schon, dass man irgendwie schon jetzt kannst du das Handy irgendwie vom Bildschirm legen oder so. Weil mit dem Handy da einfach gar nichts, oder?
Ja, also die merken es halt in dem Moment, wo du irgendwo deine Hand zum Suchen oder zum Weitermachen
Also ein anderes Handy vorne, keine Ahnung, hier hinlegst.
Ja, aber die Frage ist, was machst du da drauf? Also musst du ja irgendwie Inhalte suchen oder irgendwas.
Ja, ich meine, wenn es da so liegt jetzt, was liegt hier? Kann ich doch da einfach das bedienen.
Ja, aber das
sieht ja nicht wirklich anders aus, als wenn ich die Tastatur bediene.
Ich würde es nicht wissen.
Ja, die Frage ist, ob kostet es 200 Euro?
Ja,
Das kann ich nicht probieren.
Naja, das Problem ist ja nicht bloß die 200 Euro, sondern wenn sie dich dabei erwischen, dass du bewusst betrügst, die Höchststrafe ist, dass du einfach keine Zertifizierungen mehr machen darfst.
Das geht auch.
Ja, also selbes Thema, wenn du im Nachhinein Fragen verletzt, du unterschreibst quasi mit der Zertifizierung ein NDA. Und wenn du das verletzt, dann darf man dich halt dein Leben lang keine Zertifizierungen mehr machen. Ja, das ist dann in dem Moment uncool. Von daher.
Ja, was 200 Euro kostet, so eine Zertifizierung, oder kommt das auf den Kurs an?
Also die Zertifizierung, glaube ich, kosten fast alle 160. 2 Euro kosten sie dann quasi mit, wenn man gleich einen zusätzlichen Versuch noch mitkaufen möchte.
Nein, es kostet, du hast recht, es kostet 160 plus Taxis und Taxis sind etwa 30 Euro mehr. Das ist fast 200, so alles zusammen mit Taxis.
Okay,
Also Mehrwertsteuer oder was? Taxes?
Steuer, ja.
Okay.
Ja,
190 Euro, sagst du etwas.
Ja.
für die Firma zahlt dann halt, zahlt aber ja nur die 160 dann letztendlich.
Aber jede Prüfung kostet gleich viel.
Außer die Fundamentals, glaube ich. Ich glaube, die sind günstiger, weil sie halt nicht so viel wert sind. Ich persönlich würde wahrscheinlich auch die Fundamentals überspringen in den meisten Fällen, weil man damit auch letztendlich zumindest gegenüber einem Kunden jetzt noch nicht wirklich was beweisen kann. Also ja, also ich meine, für dich als Mitarbeiter ist es super, wenn die Firma das dir auch zahlt und wenn du als Arbeitssuchender irgendwie zu einer Firma hingehst und sagst, dass sie Fundamentals macht, dann ist es was wert. Bei uns ist es jetzt so, ich habe die 203 gemacht, Anna wird jetzt auch die 203 machen, um dann eben auch Kunden sagen zu können, okay, wir haben hier 5, 6 zertifizierte Azure-Entwickler. Zum einen können wir damit natürlich zeigen, dass wir das Know-how haben, zum anderen kannst du die auch ganz anders verkaufen, also auch zu anderen Stundensätzen.
Wie lange sind die wertvoll? Das verändert sich ja ständig.
Ja, also offiziell gültig sind sie 2 Jahre. Die tauchen, es gibt man kann sich quasi von Microsoft so ein Transkript ausdrucken lassen oder PDF oder sonst irgendwas. Dort stehen dann die aktiven Zertifikate drauf und die abgelaufenen aber auch. Das heißt, die Azure 203, die wird auch länger als 2 Jahre noch einen gewissen Wert haben im Arbeitsleben, sage ich mal. Offiziell gültig 2 Jahre, aber da sind schon viele Fundamentals dabei, die nicht in 2 Jahren gültig sein werden. Also wenn jetzt Azure Functions, Web Apps, SQL Server, die ganzen Themen, die da so drankommen, die in in 2 Jahren noch ganz genau funktionieren.
Hast du diese Labs auch mit Virtual Machines oder ist es nur für Architekten?
Okay. Wie macht sich das dann in den Preisen bemerkbar? Also wenn du jetzt von Double Slash Leute verkauft?
Ich bin tatsächlich nicht von Double Slash,
okay.
von Media lassen.
Okay, ja, egal. Also
kann ich gar nicht genau sagen, weil also es kommt zum einen auf den Kunden drauf an. Und auf der anderen Seite bin ich da auch nicht tief drin. Also ich bin jemand, der sagt, ich brauche dafür 2 Wochen. Und unser Salesmensch, der schreibt mir den Preis drauf. Da bin ich dann eigentlich gar nicht mehr involviert.
okay. Ich weiß jetzt nicht, ob er, keine Ahnung, beim Tagessatz, wie viel mehr er draufschreibt, wenn er jetzt.
Nee, weiß ich nicht. Ich weiß, dass wir spezielle Tagessätze für Azure Architects haben. Und wir haben spezielle Tagessätze für Scrum Master.
Das ist mein nächster leider.
Von normalen
203 Watt, ja.
des normalen Entwicklers.
Finde ich gut.
Ja, ja.
In der Regel.
Ja. Übrigens, ihr dürft alle tweeten und twittern, was das Zeug hält.
You switch it
At Azure DEV MOOC.
Okay, alles zusammen?
Alles zusammen. Also ich schreibe es mal hier an die Tafel. Wer twittert nicht mehr? Wer hat das gesagt?
War das
Echt?
Inside oder was?
Wie bitte? Wer bist du? Das ist eine Lüge.
Bei ihm sind Spatzen Drosseln.
Der war gut. So, at Azure DEV MOOC. Genau. Und wer übrigens wissen will, was wir sonst noch so treiben, es sind noch ein paar coole Sachen, die da gerade hochkommen.
Wack, wack.
Was?
Wack, wack.
Wack, wack.
Vorwärtswisch.
I know that. Dev.
If you can't figure out the URL, you're not meant to be.
No, the browser handles that for you, so you don't have to care for that. Even if you do it wrong, he will correct you. So.
Last week I had a customer who was super mad because a website we developed was offline, and she was like, how can this be? I mean, I type here HTTL. I mean, I don't even know how this happens. All right then. Actually, too long already. So hopefully you all are stocked up on pizza and drinks. I'm gonna talk now about specifically the Azure AC 203 certification, which is the Azure Developer Associate certification. Quickly about me, I'm Thomas, obviously. I'm a consultant and developer at Media Lesson. Also follow me on Twitter, please, now.
Do not.
So who's the Azure 203 for? It's, as it says, for developers specifically, and it's actually the only real developer-focused certification in the pool. Everything else is then related to architects or AI. So this is the hardcore dev exam. Thanks. And with this is one of the few exams where you just have to take one test and you already get like this title of associate. There's no prerequisite, so you can directly take this exam as well.
One recommendation on that, if I may add it, is the AZ900, which is the Azure Fundamentals.
I'm just laughing because it said I wouldn't do that. So I mean, it obviously depends. If you're coming from IT Pro side or if you're new to Azure, then definitely by all means go ahead. If you're already an established developer doing work with Azure, it might be a waste of time because you are not getting a title that's worth something to a customer, for example, and it also costs some money. I think it's a bit cheaper,
99 euro.
But yeah,
just the exam.
Yeah.
Perhaps
That's
you go
what
to an
is
Azure
that?
training day.
Sorry?
Perhaps you can go to an Azure training day. They will teach you on the fundamental topics.
Okay.
And they will provide you with a voucher code.
Oh, okay.
Worth the complete one first attempt.
Those trainings for free?
Unfortunately, not all.
But most of them.
How do you know when such a training occurs?
You go
Tech
search for it.
I know. TechWise. You need to search for TechWise. There you find all the TechWise.
TechWise. Yeah, and
TechWise?
all for the events with Microsoft. Because there is a bunch of.
Yeah.
Is it TechWise or TechWise?
I
I thought it was with EI.
I will check. Let me see. Maybe I'm wrong.
Microsoft has a page for its.
So these are done by Microsoft, right?
Visa.
Yeah.
Visa. Take Visa.
TechWise.
But what did you mean by just for the exam?
Sorry?
You said when there was 99 euros or dollars?
It's just for the exam, yeah.
Yeah.
So no training, training included. It's just for the exam.
Okay. And what would you recommend for the training? Or is that what Thomas would talk about?
So Thomas mentioned if you're already using Azure and you've tried out Azure for several times, you don't need to focus on AZ900 because it's not worth
I got this.
your time. Okay. Good.
Yeah, you got several training on learn.microsoft.com, especially for the fundamental one. It's very good. Learn.microsoft.com.
I'll show it.
You show it. Sorry.
Sorry.
We're sorry, we have some Microsoft guys here.
Yes.
They're checking what we're talking about.
Alright, I just want to start with a bit of exam basics. There might be some overlap because we actually didn't talk at all about who's gonna cover what. So I'm just gonna skip ahead if there's something that I've already talked about. So as mentioned, approximately 3 hours. I think that's for actually most of the certifications.
It's the same. It's not.
I will start correcting you now.
You did. Yes.
Alright, so there are around 60 questions for this exam, and you need 700 points to pass, which is not 70%. It really depends on the type of question because they weigh it differently depending on how important they think a question is. As I said earlier, the certification is technically valid for 2 years. After 2 years, it's still worth something if you go to customers or if you have it on your resume. But technically, after 2 years, Microsoft thinks, okay, maybe you should redo it, or probably there's an update for the exam that you can do. Also, they want your money, obviously. Very important, remember the rules. Do check what you're signing up for, because you're actually signing up for NDA, so a non-disclosure agreement, which prohibits you from talking actually about anything that you have seen in the test. So if you pass on some information, some examples of the questions that happened within the test, you can actually get banned from doing Microsoft exams at all in the future, and hopefully you won't be fined. So I'm actually a bit scared to talk about this now. Hopefully I won't mention anything that actually happened in the test. Good thing is I have a very bad memory.
Maybe it's bad.
One thing that we also discussed a bit already is the fees. So it's depends on the geographical location where you want to take the test. In Germany, it's 165 euros around about without tax. I just learned. And if you want to have one free extra try already with your first purchase, then it's going to cost you 250, probably also without tax.
Small addition on that: there are times when Microsoft offers very exclusive benefit offers. They might have then within the same fee 3 retakes and free shot of MindHub, where you can do some testing your knowledge. So watch the website.
Which website? This learn.microsoft.com or?
It's most often provided by Pearson VUE.
Right, but the offer is from Microsoft page. Yes, it is from Microsoft page. You have to go there and to figure it out there. The Pearson VUE website is really awful. It's more bad than Microsoft.
You mean it's more focused if you search via the Microsoft after?
If you go to learning.microsoft to your learning profile, you'll have it with a simple click. There is a link for extra offers or special offers, and there you'll find it with a simple click, which you won't find that easy and fast with Pearson VUE, in my opinion.
Or you could just
Google
make it work on the first try and don't need retakes. So that's also always an option. Regarding retake policy, if you fail the exam, you have to wait 24 hours to take it before you take it again. If you fail again, then you have to wait 14 days, so 2 weeks. If you fail again, you have to wait 14 days. If you fail again, 14 days. If you fail it for 5 times, then you have to wait for a year. Because Microsoft is no, we don't want your money anymore.
They have enough.
Yeah, we basically got all your money, right? And usually past exams cannot be taken again. I actually think that the 203 might be an exemption of this, but I'm not 100% sure, so I didn't put it on the slides. But why would you anyway? So
yeah, when I pass, is it just passed or failed, or is it passed with 50% only?
you do get a score.
Yeah, but
no one will care.
okay.
So you, as I mentioned, you need these 700 points. I think in the end I had like 770, something around about that. But no one will ever ask, okay, you're a developer associate, but how good of a developer associate are you?
How long will it last?
What?
The title.
2 years.
We said that already.
Officially. So I mean, you can still after 2 years can say I took this exam back then, and I guess to most people it will still be worth something. But yeah, officially I think you lose the title. Do you? No.
But is the score mentioned on the certificate set?
No.
Well, it depends what you actually show to your customer, but I mean, you get like a badge you're allowed to use then, and it just says, that's basically the one I used on the first slide.
The score is not shown
So
to nobody.
this is basically all you need to show the customer. I haven't had it happen that they actually wanted to see any test results.
Do you become a certificate like certificate or not?
Yeah, you can print one yourself, or you can order one which is a bit more beautiful.
Wait, that's not true. What? If you've just earned NCP, you do not get a certification. A certificate you can print out. It's just when you have a title like associate, expert, or something like that. For the Azure thing is that.
Yeah,
I've learned it. Okay. There is no certification you can print out then. If you have done like this one, the associate, where you're approved to be associate, then you have a certificate you can print out.
So like if you're done the AZ 900 for foundation, you're not gonna get any certification for it.
I've never done it. It is a title. No, it's not a title. No, you'll get a badge you can share, but you won't have a certification you can pin on your wall.
Yeah, so it's always good to also check the path if you're, or how to get to a point where you have like this title, yes. Because I think that's actually something that's worth something. All right, moving on. Topics. So we've got like I think 6 main parts that you should be looking at. First one, you can always see the percentage of points this will probably make up. All the exams, or the exams do not all have the same questions. You obviously have a pool of questions, and they will be chosen by, randomly. So if you retake the test, you probably won't see the same questions, or only a few that you have already seen. So first topic is develop Azure infrastructure as a service compute solutions. So take a close look at VMs. Azure Batch Services is actually one of the things that I haven't looked much at before, or actually I didn't know they existed. But they were actually, so I actually got some questions around that in the certification. Containerized solutions, Azure Container Services, Azure Container Instances, Azure Kubernetes Service. It's very important to look at. Then we have developed Azure Platform as a Service. So everything around the web apps. I mean, web apps, they include basically mobile apps, API apps, web jobs also officially a part of web apps, which I thought was a bit strange, why they still put a lot of focus on web jobs when basically everything that web jobs does or did is supposed to be now in Azure Functions or be done with Azure Functions. But they still there still might be some questions around that. Also, how you actually program web jobs. So unfortunately, you still have to take a look at that as well. And also, like with 20 and 25%, this is basically the most important topic for the whole certification. Then we have Azure Storage. Obviously, the storage tables, blob storage. One thing that is very important to Microsoft in general is Cosmos DB, obviously. I mean, it's a very cool offering, but mostly because it's also super expensive, so they make most of their money in cloud, I guess, from Cosmos DB, because it's very easy to rack up huge bills. Azure SQL Database and all the database as a service offerings also very important for Microsoft. I've added this link. We will share the slides after the talk, I guess. This is the link basically points to the official Microsoft summary of all the topics. So this is a bit abbreviated. If you want to really see each single topic that's going to be covered, check out this link. I can maybe show it quickly what it does look like. Yeah, so I mean, I copied the headlines, and then there's a lot of detailed stuff in there as well. So yeah, really make sure to go through this list and check if you're comfortable with each topic, if you know what each service does, and also if you feel confident reading code about this. But I'll talk about this in a bit. Then we also got Azure Security, which was actually a bit harder for me because I haven't looked at this topic as a whole that much, except for maybe Azure Active Directory. But all the access control stuff, the secure data solution stuff, which you might not come in contact with in the beginning, this actually is also pretty important to wrap your head around. So especially things like certificates in Azure Key Vault, how do you program against Azure Key Vault? Really important. By the way, I'm going to mention this later as well, but all the programming stuff is in C#. Not sure if you've talked about this.
Yep.
So every time you read code, it's going to be C# or PowerShell. So then also monitoring and troubleshooting, things like AKS again. AKS obviously, all things Kubernetes and Docker very important now. Caching is one thing that I also had not looked that much at before I took the test. So getting to know Redis is actually pretty straightforward, but it's definitely a good thing to know how to work with that. Application Insights, the thing that always gets installed on every resource if you want it or not. So Microsoft also has a huge focus on Application Insights, which is for me a bit bothersome at times. But I mean, if you use it right, it can be a very powerful tool. And then connect and consume Azure and third-party services. So things like logic apps integrating into infrastructure. Azure Cognitive Search, which I think got rebranded. Is that possible? Because I think it used to be
Azure Search now, yeah.
No, it's now Azure Cognitive Search. Because every time I look for Azure Search, I always get redirected to Azure Cognitive Search.
Okay, maybe they added cognitive so that you know it's a cognitive service. I don't know.
Yeah, because I think they added like these inbuilt AI options now. Like if you put Azure Search on a blob container with images, you can automatically do text extractions. So yeah, Azure Search and all the event and message-based solutions that you will come in contact with anyways if you look at Azure Functions, for example. So things like event grid, notification hubs, and queues, definitely worth a look. Questions regarding the topics?
How much PowerShell do we need to learn?
Tough question. I didn't know PowerShell myself very well. I still don't know it very well. But you should recognize what certain commands do. It's basically the same as you would look at the code. You don't have to write any code yourself, but you will get code blocks and you have to understand what they're doing and which methods you need at a certain time. And it's basically the same for PowerShell. So you need to know in which order you have to create new resources if you want to accomplish a certain task. And then you have like 6 different PowerShell commands, and you have to pick 4 and bring them in the right order. So that's all the PowerShell you basically need, but you need to be aware of the keywords that you need that are important for
deployments,
completing the task. Yeah. What you don't have to do is write any PowerShell, unlike I think with the architecture.
Yeah, and there it was CLI. So
you can't switch to PowerShell?
No.
Okay.
They fire it up for you. You do not have any selection.
Well, I mean, in both cases, I think you're using the AC module, so the commands are basically the same in the CLI or in PowerShell.
One more question
The
about
background color is
logic
different.
app. Yeah. I want to ask a lot of questions.
Sure.
That's why I called. Logic app is basically some kind of images that you connect together, and these images like apps that you connect together, right? And what are the questions about this connection between these apps?
Actually, I can't remember if I actually had a question about Logic App.
You're good.
Because I'm not sure, I'm not aware if you can develop Logic App with code. I only know that you can develop Logic App with
The
just
idea of Logic
connecting,
Apps
right?
is that you don't need to know code. As a developer, you usually would go for Azure Functions. You can integrate Azure Functions with Logic Apps. It helps a lot when you try to connect to different services. So, for example, you want to react to some kind of event, some email coming in. You want to extract some text from that email. You want to download a file to blob storage, then convert it, and then send it back to OneDrive or something. You have a lot of different services that when you write code for it, you need to handle a lot of the authorization yourself in code. And in Logic Apps, you just sign into this service, sign into that service, sign into a third service, and then you have a data flow where you can say, okay, I'm signed into Outlook, I get an email, I can open this, and then I'm signed into OneDrive, or I can call an Azure function as well to do some processing on that. So each time you do integration tasks, it might be helpful. It won't help you, at least I think so, if the program is targeted for another user. So if the user has to actually sign in with his credentials, then you will run into troubles. But if this is for internal stuff, then it's actually quite helpful.
At that point, it can be sorted out with the service principal if you need the impersonation at that point. But Logic's apps are quite powerful, like if then that, because you can do also if then that and while, so for each loops within Logic apps, so they can blow up pretty easy.
So it's basically a more powerful business-oriented if this and that.
So if I will have questions, it's kind of they will ask me, they will provide me some information, and the question would be what is the best way, and I answer them, this is Logic app way, right? So this is the question. Not exactly about how to create Logic app, but when to use Logic app.
both questions are valid.
Both could technically be valid. As I really haven't seen a logic app question myself, so this was probably in the other pool. But I mean, this is also 20 to 25%, so it's a huge topic. But I would say that Azure Search and the event-based stuff is probably more important in that category than the logic apps, just from my gut feeling. But I guess the easiest way to figure out what logic app actually does is just try it out, try to connect some services, and that's basically all there's to it. All right. I have prepared some examples. I didn't actually prepare examples, but it's just some topics that stuck in my head where I said, okay, this is something that's good to wrap your head around. Again, this just 3 examples out of this huge pool. But yeah, so these are things that caught me off guard, and I think might be helpful. So Azure Batch, as I mentioned, I hadn't not looked at this at all myself. And there are some concepts in there, like the pool of a batch tasks and jobs, and then you have to kind of figure out what is doing what. So there's a pool and there's jobs in there and there are tasks in there, and this is important to keep in mind, so you actually know what to do in what order, and also have to really look at the SDK of how to apply the certain things for the batch job to actually run. So this is one of the cases where the SDK is not really intuitive. This is there are certain methods or certain method names that you have to have read before you take the test. Otherwise, you probably will get the answer wrong, because like starting a task is not task.start, but you actually have to commit async to something. Regarding Cosmos DB, as I mentioned, it's a super important topic for Microsoft. Things like consistency models is really important to understand what they're doing. So you have different consistency strategies across Cosmos DB, where you either on the side of I want performance at all costs, and I don't care if the data might be old. And on the other side is the data must be absolutely the news that's inside there, and I'd rather wait a bit longer for all the regions to be updated, but have the current data. So one nice example for the first part, where you say it's not that important that I get the right information right away, is if you look at Twitter. If you scroll through the feed, the meta information, like how many likes or retweets did a tweet get, this is not mission critical information. This is okay if you open the tweet and then the number will go up, because then it will probably get a newer number after some time. But this is one of the cases where you would rather have the tweet show up right away with the wrong favorite count, instead of waiting for the tweet a long time and then have the correct number of favorites, which you don't care much anyways about. A bit over. That's what I talked about earlier. When I'm in front, then I somehow...
You should try beer.
Probably, yeah.
he tried first one and then he switched over to water. I was wondering.
My body is not used to water, so
It avoids it.
yeah, it really took me up because it resists it.
It's a tough job.
It is. And yeah, so one more thing that I'd briefly like to mention is, because I also did not at all work with this yet myself, is the encryption methods inside SQL databases, you have different strategies to encrypt columns. And the keys for these columns you can store, for example, in Azure Key Vault, and you should know how you actually can get access to Azure Key Vault and to the columns where you can decrypt the data if you need to. So this was something I actually learned during preparation for this exam. Things you don't need to learn by heart. I think there are a few more things in there, but for example, VM specifications. You don't need to know, okay, the D1 has 5 gigabytes of RAM or something like that. You should be aware of the different types of VMs that are around. So like you have your standard, you have your premium, you have some for AI purposes with dedicated graphic chips, but that's mostly it that you need to know in this specific part. And things like method overloads for SDKs, you don't need to be able to write the code, but you need to be able to understand what different methods do, and you need to be able to pick out the correct methods from a list of potentially false method names as well, or method names that are not correct in the context. So, how are you actually going to prepare for this? There are a few pretty good resources. I mentioned Microsoft Docs in the first place because this was probably where I spent most of my time, especially since with Microsoft Docs you get for each service a really nice quick start tutorial where they basically show you 90% of the SDK code that you need to know. So if you go through the topic list and you see a service or a topic that you're not familiar with or you're not comfortable with, I recommend going to Microsoft Docs and reading the Getting Started page, which is really helpful. It explains what the service does. It explains how you actually get access to it through C#. So this was really helpful.
One addition to that, you also can switch nowadays with Microsoft Docs the code page to whatever you'd love. For some of the resources, it's not in all implemented yet, so you can switch to Node.js, to Java, to C#. Python is one of the highlighted as well, to have the code in your language. So Microsoft is open for everybody.
Yeah. Just don't do it when you prepare for the exam, because you really need to know the C# stuff. Then there are some specific labs for the AC 203 by Microsoft also. So this is basically a GitHub repository with some instructions that you can follow along. If you don't have time to actually do them, I think I added the wrong link actually. So this is basically the files of the lab. I need to update the link with the overview.
Go back to AZ203, top, yeah. And within the description you find the Microsoft Learning GitHub.io. No, go up, stop there.
Yeah, that's the link I actually wanted. Thanks. So this is a list of modules with a description what you're going to learn through this. If you don't have time to actually work through these labs, then I would recommend at least reading the instructions, because they also give you a good idea of what will happen, and especially you will read a lot of PowerShell commands that you will also be able to or need to understand for the exam to pass.
What do I need if I want to try them and practice?
Actually, I think you will get.
For tryout?
You actually get a virtual machine where you can sign into the portal and do everything for free.
Yes.
So I don't think you even need an account. Do you?
Then it's an Azure subscription.
Yes, you need an Azure subscription, and there you fire up a virtual machine to do the lab.
Yeah. So you do need the
Azure subscription.
The subscription, yeah.
So, but don't. It's not a problem because Azure subscription is 30 days all service free, and then 12 months you can use with the basic or free the most of the services. I'm not sure if virtual machines are included.
Yeah, I'm not 100% sure about that as well. Do anyone of Microsoft know that?
There's also,
Free?
there's also another way. I don't know if it comes up in the moment, but there are also self-paced labs that cover a bit of the topics.
Yes, with a learning path, you mean, right?
Yep.
With a learning path.
You can fire up the virtual machines
Yes.
with the guide on the right side.
It's with the learning path. Yeah, you're on the right page. So don't move away from it.
This time I'm sure. You do have to scroll down a bit. It's a bit unfortunate that. So this is a group of different learning paths that are available in Microsoft Learn that you can follow along. Unfortunately, this grouping or this collection is only available on the certification page. So if you go directly to Microsoft Learn and look for Azure 203 path, then you won't actually find anything. You have to go to the certification page, and then down there are all the labs that are related to preparing for this exam.
And going through those learning pages is nice as well. Being logged in with your Microsoft account, because you earn points for each section. The points you're earning points for each section you're doing in there. So you can show up with a bunch of points after a while. For instance, to your boss or something, if they sponsor your learning for that.
I can't type.
That's my keyboard.
What did I want to mention? Yeah. So this is pretty cool. As Ralph mentioned, that you like get the XP and get Azure, I guess Azure Street Cred or something. One thing that is actually new in the Microsoft Learn platform, which was just recently announced, was the I think no, that's not that. The Q&A section.
Oh, that's a complete new service. It's not embedded into
Actually,
the
it
Learn.
is. It is inside Microsoft Learn,
It's
but
embedded?
probably only in the English.
Yeah.
And so officially, I think it is part of Microsoft Learn because you will also share the XP and the reputation from the Learn stuff with the Q&A stuff. So hopefully. Okay, no, it's not here.
Yeah, I was guessing it was an extra service.
Let's see. So basically, what Microsoft Q&A is.
Q&A maker.
Yeah, it's probably now not. I'll update the link in the PowerPoint. It's basically the same as Stack Overflow with a lower barrier of entry. Because in Stack Overflow, if you post a question and you use any word wrong or something, you will immediately have people just randomly closing your app, or if you put a question mark too many in there. So it can get really can be really frustrating frustrating using Stack Overflow, especially as a new developer. And so Microsoft basically recreated Stack Overflow for their services and with people who are paid to be nice, basically. Still, Microsoft really recommends also using Stack Overflow. So this is not designed to be a product against Stack Overflow. Actually, Microsoft and Stack Overflow have a really good relationship. I guess mostly because Stack Overflow is running on ASP.NET, and the Stack Overflow guys are also really good contributors of .NET Core. But yeah, if you don't know if Stack Overflow is the right address, Q&A. They actually were quicker to help me with an issue just last week than Stack Overflow, which was really nice.
Follow our Twitter account. We have the link there.
Going back to the resources, resources free also means that there are paid resources. There's a pretty good Udemy course for this. Currently, the most courses on Udemy are on sale for I think 12 euros, which is actually a good deal. I think the deal lasts until tonight. So if you're feeling like okay,
it comes up on a regular basis to that price. So.
Probably.
It's almost to the price.
But only until tonight.
No, it's really, you can sort of, you have also a lot of free courses.
Yeah. Unfortunately, not related to
Azure.
Especially the Azure certification. But this was one of the main things I did was looking at the Udemy course. So there are actually 5 hours. I told hurry. Actually, I'm not LinkedIn. For some reason, it shows PowerPoint training for Azure 203. Let's see. Scott. Why? Does it work?
A2Z training.
Certification.
Exam prep or something.
Does this work differently than when I'm signed in?
I don't know.
Because I copied like the search URL out of my browser where just 4 courses were mentioned.
Scroll down a bit. Maybe it's coming up there.
Well, I will put the direct links to the courses there as well. They were pretty helpful because they were really going into detail, going through each topic, showing code, showing what to actually do there.
7532 is the old one, right?
Yeah.
I've done the old one.
What do you mean by the old one? The old course?
Yeah, it's not. No, the that was the code for the certification exam.
Ah, that could be.
70.
Yeah. But so this one, this is the one I actually did. And it was updated for AC 203. There's one other that's a bit newer, which also has good ratings. So I guess it doesn't matter too much which one of those you pick. I don't think you need to do both.
And Scott is a really nice guy. He's doing loads of such trainings, and he's coming down from on how to do the exam, what's inside, and so on. It's really nice to listen to him.
So for those who might have a Pluralsight subscription, there's also a path for preparing for the exam. Unfortunately, this is not really videos that are tailored to the exam, but just a collection of videos that somehow are within the realm of the topic. So these videos are not specifically made for the exam, but it's just, okay, here's an introduction to Azure Functions, here's an introduction to Azure Batch Service, which might be good if you want to brush up on a certain topic. But this path that is outlined there, it's probably around 30-40 hours of video content. So it's, in my opinion, too much to actually go through all the prototype videos for preparation.
Let me mention something
What's-
to that.
What's good in there is that there are questionnaires in, and with the questionnaires you can measure your skill and on what way you are. Are you novice or are you advanced?
Same for
or
Udemy.
expert. And same for Udemy, right?
Yes. And go to Pluralsight via the Azure.com site, because then you will see some of the courses that are related to Azure for free instead of priced.
Well, you have the honor of getting a free Pluralsight account containing all Azure stuff inside. It's an offer came up 6 or 7 months ago or something like that.
Yeah.
I've still a link for it. So you can sign up without paying for Pluralsight for Azure content.
Is it the same?
This is the same what I mean, and it is on Azure. So
We should follow up on
Pluralsight.
this on Twitter as well.
Okay.
Yeah, just spam
Yeah,
people.
well, yeah.
People are now following. They want.
Okay.
Then there's also a LinkedIn Learning course, obviously, since it's Microsoft. This is also paid. I'm not sure if it's currently possible to somehow get LinkedIn Premium for free. Maybe we can find some vouchers as well for this. You have no good connections to LinkedIn. Get on it.
I'm trying to ask Eric.
And then there are the official practice tests, which are usually I found them to be quite expensive. So you pay like €100, I think, just to take a practice test, when you pay €160 to take the real test. So as you said, there are some offers where you might get the practice test for free with your sign up to an exam. But I personally probably would stay away from the practice test otherwise, since it's just €100. You can buy a lot of Udemy courses in the next 5 hours.
I cannot go into it either, because a few of my colleagues did learning with it, and they've practiced themselves against it, and then failed with the first try of the exam. But you were 100% showing up, so that was really a mess, and the questions are old stuff, no labs inside and so on, so it's not really good.
So they're not the same questions in the practice test and in the official test? Okay.
That's probably
That's
the
sad.
problem with NDA.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, otherwise it would technically be cheating, right?
So they go in the same direction. It's
Yeah.
not completely the same.
It's
They
the same
go in
style, I
yeah.
guess.
So it's not like in a driving school that you have the same pool.
No,
Unfortunately not.
no, it's not. You really have to have the stuff in your brain.
Yeah. And then there's always the instructor-led training, but I guess for an instructor-led training you can buy 5-6 vouchers to just retry the exam. So in my opinion, it's probably not worth it. Not sure if you have any thoughts on that.
I have another opinion about that, but
Okay.
it really belongs to the people who are attending it. Because if you're in and working day by day with the stuff, and you're used in onboarding new stuff, and we need to, because Azure is really evolving day by day, then it's okay to just go through the exam. Otherwise, if you're not free enough if you have a baby at home, if your boss don't let you learn, if you can't learn by writing the U-Bahn or something like that, the underground, instructor-led training can help you out of that situation.
By the way, if your boss doesn't let you learn,
Think
both
about-
our companies have some slots up.
Think about the change, right? We're doing cool things, all both.
Definitely.
Okay, questions to that? Resources?
What cool things?
Sorry?
What cool things do you do?
You've spent some time with
AWS.
You know it already.
Wait, is that a tape?
Well, yeah, it is. And I can scratch it. AWS, and I make a GIF out of it.
That's something everyone wants to see, definitely. I think this, Ralph also covered this. This is specifically regarding the Azure 203 again. So don't be put off by the introductory questions. There are, I think, 2 or 3 questions that ask you basically what are you doing and why are you taking this test. They will not be scored, obviously. Then you have the normal multiple choice questions, obviously. You have to put things in order, for example, different code blocks, or put them at the right position in the code, with wrong pieces of code being there as well. So keep that in mind. You don't have to use each block. Also, you can use some blocks twice inside the code. Then we obviously have the case studies. So a case study is just basically a project where you have an architecture design, you have customer requirements. It's quite a lot of text for each section, and it is very important to really carefully read the case studies, because there's a lot of information in there that you will need to answer the questions correctly. You can go back and forth between the description text and the question themselves, but there are questions that have only right answers, but you need to figure out which is the right answer in this context. So what does the customer actually need in this case?
The best.
Yeah. So these are actually, in my opinion, the easiest questions, because you don't need to know much about the technology. You just have to carefully read what the customer wants. So if everything seems right to you, then maybe go back to the description and check what is specifically asked as a requirement for the solution. Performance-based labs is, they say technically there could be performance-based labs, as they are in the Azure architecture exam, but I have not seen anyone who actually had to do any of the labs in the 203. I have not done any myself, so I would not expect those in the Azure 203. Technology, we briefly touched upon this, so everything is C#. Be aware of that. And also the AZ PowerShell modules or the Azure CLI. As I mentioned, those are basically the same commands for both, since you are using the AZ modules to create, to delete, to configure the stuff in Azure. To round things out, there are a few general tips. Take your time. Unlike the architecture certification, you really have a lot of time to do this. So 3 hours is plenty. I was done, I think, after about 2 hours. So I would have had a whole other hour to really reread each section if I could have gone back. So really make sure if you finish a section, just check it again, because you can't go back. And you do have the time to really do each section very carefully. Again, read the case studies carefully. A lot of free questions in there if you don't miss it in the text. Know the code, know the SDKs, mentioned that as well. And then if you have successfully passed the certification, obviously the question is, what can I do now? And Ralph also showed it in the learning path. So I guess the next logical step for a certified developer would be to tackle the certified Azure DevOps Engineer Expert exam, because As you can see down here, the Certified Developer Associate exam is one of the prerequisites for this, which you already have done. You don't need the Azure Administrator. There are a few paths that says "and," so where you need both prerequisites. In this case, the Azure Developer Associate is enough to go to the next step. With Azure DevOps Engineer Expert, then you obviously can call yourself an expert in Azure, which is definitely nice. And from what I've heard, this certification is actually easier than the developer one. So if you're already using Azure DevOps on a daily basis, like we're, for example, I think you were as well in the company, then it should be rather straightforward, and as you will probably need less preparation than you would need for the developer one. And then, of course, you have the Azure Solution Architect Expert, which Ralph mentions, all the 300 and 301. Because I guess this, at least for me, would be the next logical step from a developer to an architect, especially if you want to get paid better.
Okay, so in this case you need to take both, so technologies and design, so we can accomplish to expert.
Yeah.
To be an expert, yes.
Right.
Well, technically you could show them side by side, but I think you can take it. You can take the 301 before you take the 300.
No.
Yeah. At least that's
No,
how it looks like.
Prerequisition. No. No prerequisition. You can start with a 301. Absolutely. It's no matter of order, but you won't get any title until you have both of them.
Yeah.
So I can either do the AZ 400 before having the AZ 203.
Not that. No.
Funny, right?
The 400 before the
203
No.
would mean the same.
No, because in this
Yes,
case,
it would mean the same.
in this case you have a clear path.
Right.
A prerequisite path, and you don't have it with the expert.
In this case, both exams are prerequisite for getting the certification.
Yeah. That's why it doesn't make any sense which one you pick first.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, I was reading in the overview of the 301, and I was seeing in there that the AZ 300 is prerequisite, but I may mess it up with the expert.
We have already test takers that do that way.
Yes.
Cool. It's possible.
All right, that's it from my side. Any more questions? Who's ready to take the exam?
Oh, so we've got a photo of your telephone number, so we...
Actually, I meant to ask this in the beginning. Who actually did do any Azure certifications already? Which one?
The very simple one, fundamentals.
Fundamentals, Azure Administrator, Architect, Security, some kind of collection.
So get his phone number definitely.
Yeah, we should share his phone number instead of ours.
Who before he came here, who was going to do an exam? Are you still?
We hope we encouraged you to do so and not to stop you.
Next 2 months.
You have to?
We have to, yeah.
Where you work?
Who actually?
Which company is it?
Beckett.
Beckett.
What
are you doing?
What are we doing?
Consultancy and our customers, we are taking care of their infrastructure.
Not
And
only
AWS and Azure. Both.
Nice.
So Azure is the topic that is growing right now.
We need to do both certification, AWS and Azure.
And which ones? Which
We're not done.
certification?
900 in Azure as a first step. And
I need to do right 200, I think.
203.
203.
Architect, no.
First architect, I need to do the architect.
Okay.
So we talked about this at the very beginning of the meetup. I think at one point we still want to do like a cloud face-off, maybe with the AWS user group.
Yes.
So maybe you can come back and help us
With AWS, okay.
figure out the differences and the things that are actually both platforms have in common, or help translate from one service to another. So if I have
Okay.
Azure storage, what would I use in AWS? I think that would be really interesting, at least for me.
For me too. Coming back to your question, it was like, do I see my results in each topic? Yes, in meaning of reach percentage.
Okay.
So if you have these 5 topics to reach, they show up a diagram with lines in it, showing up the reach percentage of
You can log
each.
into your dashboard and...
No, I won't.
He didn't actually pass it.
What, I've shown my claim. I passed it.
701.
And there they show which percentage you've reached of each. And if you failed to pass, you can see which of the section was the weakest one, so that you can spend more learning time to that specific topic. So they don't leave you completely alone with no answer about why you failed to pass.
But I don't think you have like a minimum amount of points you need to get per section, right? So you can fail one section completely,
yes,
and just ace everything else.
If you fail one completely, you would lose as much as failing the whole exam. It's like that.
Because they
want you to have some knowledge there.
Yeah. But they basically don't say that, but they how do you say? They weight the questions that high.
Yeah, exactly.
Forget what I said.
Give this man a beer.
Okay, walk out and just grab it, and I can go on then.
It's all the water that makes me
freeze. Okay, Azure Freestyle. It's your stage. We want you to come up here, talk about your problems, questions, talk about the topic you want to share with us. If you're not having any topic today, do you? None of you? Come on, the Microsofties are always talking about stuff.
Mostly about
so
AWS.
why don't you share something about you?
About me?
There is, yes.
That's
There are
actually
amazing things.
I mean, so the idea behind this is that we don't want to talk all the time ourselves, but this is supposed to be a community thing. So, especially if you haven't given the talk, or you are afraid to give a talk for the first time, a whole thing, or if you just have a question or a success story you want to share with the community, or discuss something with them. So this is the idea basically behind Azure Freestyle, just to get a conversation going. So if you feel like it, feel free. You don't actually have to stand up and walk in front. You can do it from your chair as well, however you like. Maybe you just have a topic that's new in Azure. Not sure what's new in Azure.
Azure Arc.
Yeah,
Azure
that
Arc.
was the same point. Because both of you work for Azure and AWS. And if you have seen the presentation on Monday from Satya on the Microsoft
Ignite.
Azure Arc is basically the solution to administer other clouds within the Azure portal. So could be a solution.
Multi-cloud. Multi-cloud and on-prem hybrid.
So how does
multi-cloud is also still tied to AWS.
Yes.
How does that work then? So you actually sign inside the Azure portal, you sign to AWS?
There's something like a connector. I haven't looked into it deeply, but I think there's something like an API or just a sign-in with the connector.
AWS has something similar, like a resource manager API, which is the
That
base.
sounds all confusing.
Huh?
If you come from Azure.
Yeah.
with the research.
But they do have something in place like that, and they use that, for instance, to.
And Microsoft said we'll get you back by including in our portal.
You know, and maybe they use Terraform inside. I don't have any clue.
Buzzwords.
Which is bingo. Okay, so nice sharing. Thanks. So
I'm still trying to wrap my head around this.
For what? Terraform?
No. How you get
My
AWS
first thought
inside?
was, how long does it take to AWS to discover that and block the connection?
Well, I imagine for something like that, they might have talked to Bezos.
Yeah, probably.
Friends.
I think so.
Yeah, there's also the solution from Google, Antos, if you have heard about it, which is pretty much doing the same, also integrating AWS and Azure.
I mean, what's it? It's really RP.
Yeah.
The most important question is there a translate function for translating Microsoft services to AWS services?
So that you have a clue about the service function.
I want to use virtual machines, and it's called something crazy in AWS. I imagine.
I really was when my first time at AWS was I was touching Lambda. And I was really, what is the fuck Lambda? And
it's Lambda.
But I've managed to get it working, and it was like an Azure function, but okay.
Well, actually, Lambda, I actually understood pretty quickly because first year of computer science, we only did functional programming.
Cool.
Yeah, I have no idea anymore about it.
Yeah. Okay. Any else topics?
How difficult was the AZ500?
The security one.
Yeah.
Actually, it is involving some hands-on. So you have the measured part where you have to tasks to do in there, and because of this is some kind of hardware now. So, yeah, and the topics coverage is about all in Azure.
That's the problem.
So that's a problem actually, because you don't have a straight focus on that. So you showed it is lined up in the first row, but it also has connections to the second row. Yeah. And it is involving, so I think there are pretty significant changes in security right now.
Cool. I want to show you our webpage. You can talk forward.
I think we might need to move the discussion closer to the beer.
That's for sure.
For sure.
I have to go home and book those Udemy courses.
There is something that was behind
those
you.
Udemy courses, that's an amazing offer.
So I definitely think that like the €10 for the whole course a good investment.
Yeah.
Udemy can be bought with on your mobile.
Oh, 14th of December.
Are you aware of this?
Not yet.
Okay, the Global AI Bootcamp is happening on 14th of December. If anybody of you in Munich at Microsoft Office.
Well, so the global bootcamp, there are a few different types of global bootcamp. In this case, is the AI bootcamp. There's also the Azure bootcamp, the Microsoft 365 bootcamp. These are all basically global events with local installments. So we are basically doing the global AI bootcamp Munich, and there's in almost most major cities there will be a bootcamp at the same time.
I've seen it, Stuttgart too. And Ghana was 4.
Ghana?
So it's all over the globe happening at the same time. It's a day all about AI, and we are lucky to be hosted by Microsoft. And we do have 4 tracks. We do have a workshop prep for for AI 100. And if we are lucky, we can raffle a few voucher for the exam at least. We do have a workshop for hands-on code, so get your fingers dirty with doing some stuff. And we do have 2 other tracks for business cases or AI in business, and another more tech weighted talk for AI in like consulting, what to do with what types of AI are there inside and so on. What are they doing with it? What are the best practices and what the do's and don'ts are. We do have already speakers, but we're still looking for more. So if you're in AI or data or something like that, we're really appreciating your session here. Just use the link here and submit a session if you're interested in.
Do you want to give a sneak peek of what sessions we already have?
I want. So we have NVIDIA on site with a cool title, I guess, Deep Learning Demystified. So deep learning is one of the hot shit nowadays, right? We do have Jota. It's a Microsoftie dealing with the Vision AI Dev Kit. I don't know if you know about the Vision AI Dev Kit. It's a Microsoft device doing AI on the edge. Really interesting. We do have Mohit, an employee of MediaLesson, who is as well MVP as a former leader of a meetup in India, if I'm right, a very big one, you told me.
Or he's still leader there.
Or still leader, and he comes up with a hands-on workshop where you can get your fingers dirty with Yes, it's a copy paste.
Not from me.
Not from you, but from Mohit.
Okay, so I have to
teach him. And then we have the prep for the AI 100 certification exam. So and more. So it is Power BI and AI inside and so on. So we do have nice topics. I hope it's interesting for you. Go through azuredev.org, register with Eventbrite to make sure that your seat is reserved for you. For the workshops, we have just 14 seats each. So we do not know yet on how to fill them up, but we will ask probably in the beginning of December who wants to attend the workshop. And then it's first in, first serve. Like that. Okay, questions to that? If you don't...
But wait, there's more.
Oh, sorry, is there more?
Yeah, more meetups.
Okay, yeah, that's right. That's right, okay, let me move to that. I'm not prepped ahead of time. Next time I have the links prepped.
Unfortunately, we weren't able to do a meetup in October, so now we...
yeah, we had to move the meetup from today, from October to this date, I guess.
So now there's a lot of stuff coming up for the rest of the year, I guess.
Yeah. And so we promised there is more. Meetup is that fast. It's not hosted by Azure, I guess.
Definitely not.
So from tomorrow to so this weekend, the EarlyCon Hackathon is coming up. 120 registered people are already there. That's not enough. Virtual assistants is coming up. We're talking about on how to do virtual assistants on a proper way and smarting up your business apps or whatever use case you have, and on how not to do that. Because having a bad chatbot is one of the really weird experience you can make as a customer from the business, right? So keeping away of that. Then we have a nice meetup on how to develop distributed apps on Kubernetes. Kubernetes is one of the new focused thing Microsoft is looking for in Azure. So we spent some minutes here as well. And then, as mentioned, the Global AI Bootcamp is here. And one more thing, we're gonna have Abel here for a DevOps meetup on 4th of December.
So Abel Wang is one of the leading guys
for Azure DevOps.
for Azure DevOps in Redmond.
Wow.
So he's flying out to Germany, especially for us, and then he does some other business
Yes.
stuff around it.
Mainly it's for us, yeah.
Yeah, obviously.
And we're lucky enough to be hosted as well on Microsoft side then there, and we would love to see you there as well.
Yeah, so this one is definitely much recommended because the
Probably.
DevOps guys from Microsoft, they're really really good guys. The talks are usually super interesting.
Yes.
So if you want to know anything about Azure DevOps, this is definitely a great place to start. And also next year, quick sneak peek, we will be doing a series around Azure DevOps. So what you can really do with it, from the basic stuff, how to incorporate DevOps into your company, how to really benefit from it, from all the
What's
code
inside,
stuff, build pipelines, testing environments,
how to extend.
developing your own extensions, things like that. So we also already got a good partner for this, I guess.
Seven Base.
So definitely something to look forward to.
Yeah. And that's not all. We will start up the
Again,
next
that's
year.
You said this is on 4th of December?
4th of December is able
Where can we
buying.
sign up for this?
Well, I wanted to share this with you. So right now is a very important meeting in Orlando. Okay. If you've missed it, Ignite. It's a week of fully blown with new and more thing. And though it is that Abel is not having time to give us an abstract and a title of his speech. So we hadn't, so we avoided to announce this officially on meetup.com because we are not going to do TBD sessions.
Yeah.
Surely?
No, nothing. I don't have any questions.
Oh, okay.
I was just cleaning my phone.
Okay, good.
Yeah, so hopefully maybe by next week we can actually share this on
Yes.
Meetup.
It's addressed.
Although we expect a lot of people to show up, this probably won't be something where we will turn you away, because I don't think we will be overcrowded, but I expect this to be one of the bigger meetups, I think.
Oh yeah, for sure. And there is a hackathon coming up on the weekend 22nd to 24th, I guess. Not sure yet. This month in November.
But I also don't know.
We do not have yet the challenge, but it's coming up. Said enough? Do we have other topics?
I guess that's it for now.
Not for me. So what we need is your feedback. Are we on the right way? Do we do the right things? What is your opinion about us?
What topics would you like to see?
What topics? You can add also comments. So please use your phone, scan it, and feel free to give us feedback. It's anonymous. We do not have the chance to follow back on whom's saying that. And you at YouTube and Mixer for sure, you can do the same. Screen it and give feedback to our meetup. We really appreciate it. Thank you.
QR code? QR code. Bam.
It's working.
Using the phones and integrated with the search.
Yeah, it's coming up. So it's an Azure service.
I was wondering because here I have Wi-Fi reception.
Yeah.
But I didn't set up your Wi-Fi. It's the official Munich Wi-Fi. That's why it's so slow.
Okay.
Yeah, it's the same with me.
Yeah.
I already voted.
Just empty box.
Just
You're the reason why
I don't know why.
Well, we didn't get any bad feedback, so that's good.
Should we go for the boxes?
Yeah, you can.
Vielen Dank für Ihr Feedback. I've chosen the first box ever.
Good,
so you wanted feedback.
The first box. Well,
please stop doing what you're doing, Fox.
I don't know.
It was green, or?
Yeah, it was the very first one, so...
Oh, it's
Oh, yeah, look!
Yeah,
it was the good one.
So it's not,
So you
it's
gotta
not
get a
our
good
fault. It's
By the way,
really
we're
good.
professionals here, so.
I know
You might
that.
not be able to tell.
You've already voted.
Yeah.
So take it.
No, it is, well, our students have designed and developed this solution, what you're using. And I'm really happy for it, because it has an administration surface and so on, and I really like it, because you just have these click boxes, and if you're mad, so you use one of the red boxes with the unhappy face, you have also the challenge to enter some